What's going on, everybody? My name is Alex, and in today's video, we're going to discuss a Reddit post that I have seen about Outbreak, and it's gotten my mind kind of, well, the gears are turning a little bit, and I'm kind of curious to what you guys think, because I've been getting mixed responses from you guys in the comments, and it seems to be happening here in the Reddit and with the actual player base regarding Call of Duty Zombies, specifically with Cold War and Outbreak. Now, a few days ago, CaReS released a huge blog post talking about all of the upcoming content that we're going to see regarding zombies, and especially the Outbreak Easter egg in relation to Season 3 Reloaded. But there was a specific line inside of their blog that said as follows: "With these goals in mind, we launched Outbreak in Season 2 with the biggest play spaces we'd ever created in zombies. This reaction from fans was incredible, with more people playing zombies in Black Ops Cold War that weekend than at any other point since the game's release. Today, the number of Outbreak players is virtually neck and neck with round-based map players, which has simply been awesome to see." Now, the way this post is presented by Random Guy 135 is that nobody cares about Outbreak, LMAO, kind of, stupid idiots who like round-based maps. You're actually wrong. Outbreak is hugely popular. CaReS is basically confirming that to us. But people in the comments are really split, which is literally what this post says from CaReS. Like, the number of Outbreak players is virtually neck and neck with round-based map players. And we've seen a ton of just uproar on Twitter, on Reddit. It's very interesting. So the first image I want to talk about here, or the first comment rather, is people mention that they are satisfied, but generally only once. Then they go on their way. For example, this sub was flooded with praise for Outbreak when it launched, and they didn't actually do anything to the mode to make it worse. It's just people who liked it are too busy doing other things to write a post explaining how much they love it. Meanwhile, someone who is unhappy will have a greater chance of wanting to find time to express their displeasure and hopes things are changed. Now, before someone makes assumptions about my position, I am unhappy that we have to wait till Season 4 or Season 4.5 to get the next classic map when we got Firebase Z in 1.5, Season 1.5. But if people here are actually delusional enough to think that this subret represents the community at large, well, as the saying goes, I got a bridge to sell you. And I think this is probably the best representation of the middle-of-the-road fan, which I think probably most of us here on the channel are. I really loved Outbreak when the mode came to fruition. I thought it was awesome, and I was really hoping for an Easter egg and more zombie-like maps, which we will talk about in a second. But there just seems to be something empty with Outbreak that I don't quite understand. I can't quite put my finger on it. I don't know if it's that the game is not for players like me, the more old school players, and it's shifting towards a new fan base. I don't know if that's it. I could just be sick of the game. But the game that I used to play with Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, even World at War, I wanted to play this game every day, and I don't feel that pull. And it's probably because, I've been at this a long time. However, I do agree with the people who are complaining are that vocal minority. But what really stuck out to me was this comment: "The comparison would be fair if they were equally getting consistent content. I think the fact that round-based is still holding as many players as it is, despite the lack of content, goes to show how many people actually care about round-based content. I personally find D Machina and Firebase Z quite boring. After I finished the Easter eggs and the Dark Aether grind, I had no reason to play them. I don't like Outbreak, and I still find myself playing more Outbreak because it simply has more to do and gets rather consistent content. If it wasn't for that fact alone, I'd likely not bother with Outbreak." Now, this comment pretty much sums up my position. Now, I do think that I did like Outbreak more at the beginning. I still do like Outbreak, but I do find myself playing it more because the round-based maps have overstayed their welcome. There's just two. There's not much to do. And this person is right. Solution alone, 3022. The fact that people are still playing D Machina and Firebase Z, that they're still playing that compared to the newer consistent content updates of Outbreak, just shows you that people actually like round-based maps more. At least that's my perspective. Now, imagine we were in a situation where we were getting constant round-based maps and Outbreak was alongside of zombies. I think that Cold War zombies would be thriving. And that's actually, I think, the biggest issue with the splitting of this fan base. Everybody who is more in my camp thinks of Outbreak as a side mode. CaReS does not consider Outbreak a side mode. It considers it part of the future of zombies, whichever way that may go. And the new fans, or the more recent fans rather, also find Outbreak to be part of that future. And the way I look at most modes added to Call of Duty Zombies, whether it's Gauntlets or Rush or Outbreak or Grief or whatever side mode that you liked, Cranked, I look at that as additional content, not main content. It's supplemental. It's supposed to be side dishes that get you through until you get to your main course. Now, I know that sounds spoiled or whatever. I'm not trying to be ungrateful. I'm grateful for any content that comes comes in the game. And if the game's not for me, that's fine. But I still like talking about it, and I still want to put out there that I think fans in my camp really look at Outbreak in the wrong perspective. And so I'm trying to work on shifting that. Another person also commented, well, when there's only 2 round-based maps over the span of 7 months, then no shit, more people will be playing Outbreak to try to get the most out of such little content. Now, I do disagree that there's little content inside of Cold War Zombies. We've talked about this infinitum. Basically, the way I think content is designed in this game is to be essentially poured through quickly, and they spread that content thin into a bunch of different modes, so you're just constantly playing all avenues of Cold War Zombies, Cold War multiplayer, and Warzone. The last comment that I wanted to talk about was more along the lines of aesthetic, and this person, Swear-Free Gamer, for me, it's that only one of the Outbreak maps, Sanatorium Night, feels zombies-esque. If the Outbreak maps were either at night or maybe the buildings were on fire or something to give it that apocalyptic feel, I don't feel on the edge of my seat or creeped out on any of the bright, airy maps from any of the games. In fact, they're amongst my least favorite maps because they don't have that scare factor. When I think of good classic zombies maps, I think of somewhere dingy and dark at night or in stormy weather. Mob, Call of the Dead, Origins, Verrucht, etc. I don't get any of that feel from really any of the Cold War zombie stuff aside from Sanatorium Night. I like when Treyarch tries new things. Heck, I'm one of those people that like BO4, not the best, not the worst, but they shouldn't focus solely on Outbreak or it's going to end up like Black Ops 4 where everyone hates it because it's different. They need to focus on round-based and Outbreak, especially if the player counts are comparable. They should also make the Outbreak maps have some zombies feel, maybe cracks in the ground, spewing ether, essence like lava, burn some of the buildings, set the maps at night, anything to give them more of that zombies aesthetic. People went to argue with him a little bit saying like, what are you talking about? What's that scare factor? And he described it a little bit more, but I think we all know what he's talking about. Kind of that transit vibe, cracks in the floor where lava is coming out, or how in town where it's all dark and there's particles all around you, or even in Dreisendrach where it has a more cooler tone and a snowy feel and a safe vibe inside that castle. It still feels like it's demented, like it's torn up, like it's been demolished. And I don't look at zombies as creepy, but there's definitely a vibe, and Outbreak does not have that vibe. It's more about completing the objective with the AI and working with your team. That's what it's about. So I don't know how Treyarch would do that without having to build entire new maps, and that's a point of Outbreak, is not to have to do that. It's to create supplemental content. That's why I look at it that way. It's to create multiplayer maps, fire team maps, and put them into zombies for us to kind of chew through. The aesthetic is definitely important, and if Treyarch would literally take their storyline and implement it in a way where we can actually have some better aesthetic, I think it would actually go a long way and make normal zombies fans like myself, I shouldn't say normal zombies fans, but people in my camp really appreciate the mode and enjoy it for what it is. Because right now people think it's just this copy and paste thing. I do not feel like it's copy and paste. It's not an easy thing to develop a game. It is not some cheap reused asset crap. It's just not what I look for when I play zombies. I do play it more than the regular maps. However, it's just not always doing it for me. And I really think that in order for this mode to take the next step, in order for us to understand what that next step even is, we're going to have to wait until Thursday when we see what this Easter egg is all about. Is it going to be some simple hide and seek Easter egg with a stone monkeys just sitting on a dresser or something and we go up and press square and then we go on to the next level? I don't really think it's going to be that simple, but Treyarch really needs to understand that even though they are pushing towards a new front for zombies, and I am looking forward to seeing what that is, they still have people playing their round-based maps, and they cannot forget about these people. They're considering this DLC 2. That was a gut punch to a lot of us. And if they do not consider their whole fan base, they're only going to be catering to one fan base, and that's going to just entirely eradicate whole half of your player base. Probably even more, I would say, based on some of the comments we read today talking about how if people are really still playing round-based maps, then how the hell is the player count neck and neck when there's been this little content in that realm? Well, I really do want to know what you guys think, because this topic has just been really messing with my head. I've been wanting to make a video about it and I really didn't know what to do, so I just kind of went off the cuff and I want to have a dialogue with you. So please leave a comment. I want to have a conversation with you, and also, you know, do all that other stuff, like, subscribe if you feel like it, you know, no pressure. But I really want to have a good time with zombies, and I feel like I've been super negative, and I just want to put my opinion out there and be honest and not necessarily rude. So I apologize if I've been coming off negative. That's not my intention. I'm gonna have a better attitude going forward. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in another video. Have a good night. Peace.